Hello one, hello all. It is the most clean-shaven ghost of Maul Caspa in the flesh, and it's time for a review of 100 Gecs, 10,000 Gecs. 100 Gecs is a electronic duo consisting of Laura Less and Dylan Brady, and this is their second studio album, not including the remix album they did, although that had bangers on it and definitely something you should check out. But on here, I feel like they've definitely pushed the envelope a little more. They have definitely sharpened their craft more on here. Like, when they do ska influence, I would say it's definitely more prominent on here. Like, you definitely hear, like, the horns. You definitely get a feel for the rhythm. Like, you know it's a ska song when you hear it. And as far as the punk influence goes, the pop punk influence, it's definitely there with the crunchy, distorted guitar lines. Like, that's definitely there. And they've really outdone themselves here. Vocally, I feel there is more distortion on it, but not to a point where it's unintelligible, and definitely more auto-tune on here, but again, not to a point where it feels cheesy. It definitely adds like an effect to the voice. It definitely adds more character here. And yeah, it's not a perfect album. It's a great one. I do feel this is their best one. There are some tracks here that do not have as much punch as the highlights here. So let's get into those. Like, I would say Frog on the Floor, though a silly concept, I don't really feel goes much of anywhere. It definitely comes off very undercooked, in my opinion. Not a very strong hook. Production's kind of bland. It also, most wanted person, that track, although there are some humorous bars of Anthony Kiedis doing something naughty, overall it comes off just pretty unadventurous by Gecs standards. And $1 million just pretty much comes off as an interlude. But as far as the other tracks here, banger, fire, great. When they're in their bag, and they are just collecting some ska, some punk, some metal, and they are just beating you to a pulp of just madness, hard-hitting bangers with great melodies, catchy hooks. Like the song I Got My Tooth Removed, which is a ska song that they do really well. Like, you hear the horns, the hook is insanely catchy, the build-up is great, where Dylan Brady is just emoting into the mic, and you feel like he's talking about an abusive partner, but really he's talking about his tooth that he removed. And the hook is insanely catchy. I got my hook removed. I got my tooth removed. And like, the horns have like so much room to create a groove. The hook comes in very well placed, very humorous lyrics on here. Definitely a banger for sure. And even like the intro here, like, really paints the narrative of the intro. You know what I mean? Like, it gives you an introduction of this person that Laura sees herself as the dumbest girl alive. Obviously cheeky when she says she walks around with lightning in her veins and walking around like Frankenstein and taking a bunch of headache medicine. Like, obviously it pretty much gives you the idea that, okay, this is cheeky and this is like the introduction to the character here, and a great way to set off the album. Also, like, the song just really gives me like that 90s feel, like that punk 90s feel. Like if you're a kid from the 90s, you know what I'm talking about, like kind of like, let's say, American Pie or something like that. It kind of gives like that feel, but not in a cheesy way. Also, I think Hollywood Baby is like an absolute banger with like this earworm hook and very much a Blink 182 vibe, if I do say, with like these crunchy, distorted guitar riffs, bassy break points here. I feel like this really could be pop punk's resurrection here. Like this could definitely be used to like create more pop punk, because we need more of this. Pop punk needs a push, and I feel like they are definitely pushing here. And it's much appreciated. The song Doritos and Fritos definitely is like one of those tracks that are pretty much stick to the guns of like hyperpop and pay an homage to the late great MF Doom, which I think is great, and good on 100 Gecs for doing that. But man, I love the cruising groove on here. I love the great heavy melodic bass lines here. And the ghostly backing vocals are great too. And it's funny though, because they do come off experimental, and with MF Doom, the metal-faced villain, being as experimental as he was, this is definitely fitting. The song Billy Knows Jamie, we get a taste of Numetal on here, where Gecs goes absolutely bananas on here and pretty much takes Numetal and nails it. With this terrifying concept of addressing the ongoing gun violence we have in this country and painting this narrative of this crazy, out of his mind individual with a gun, and just how he's just like a menace, but we know what the direction is here. And also I like the little segment here where Billy like is in a panicked fashion trying to reason with this maniac, and Jamie, due to the very visceral instrumentation here, pretty much we know how that goes. And the rap verse from Dylan is like absolutely intense here. The track Me is a great closer. I feel like the concept is definitely fitting for like the end of the album here. Definitely gives that closer, saying, "You'll never know about me." Sounds better in the album, trust me. Never really know, no. Like it's definitely like ska meets like video game music, and it just kicks ass. And I feel like the narrative here is very heartbreaking. Like someone who is being judged by this individual, and pretty much their judgment is clouded on the ability to learn about this person, learn about what they're about and what their struggles are. So that really goes with the "you'll never know about me." And it's great because like the intro was the introduction of introducing Laura Les, like introducing herself as the dumbest girl alive, which was cheeky, but you know, fit as a intro. So I would say this is like more of a roll credits moment here, where again the narrative is about oneself, but still you haven't really learned like from that person. And yeah, overall I think this is definitely 100 Gecs best right here. I loved the hooks. I loved how daring they got here. I loved the elements. I loved the themes. So yeah, overall banger. I do wish it was a bit longer, but hey. And I tend to hear more Gecs from here. I want to hear the Gecs to 1,000,000 Gecs. Okay, maybe that's impossible. Like 10,000 Gecs. No, wait, that's how about 50,000 Gecs? 50,000 Gecs. And then we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, I honestly feel like this is like, it's pop punk and it's ska, but it has like a future type vibe to it. Like this is like pop punk nu metal from the future right here. And it's brought to us here in the most fun, but yet kind of serious in a few directions type of way. But they get silly at times. I'm feeling a 4 out of 5 black hearts on this. If you've given this a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Drop Y in the comments. And that's it. Caspa. Critical plug. 100 Gecs. 10,000 Gecs. Till we meet again.